Welcome everybody to today's edition of Youth News. I'm your host, T. Noss, with Caleb here today. Real quick, before we get into anything, I want to mention for this show and also with my show, we are going to try to do an interview with the band Gold Frankincense and Myrrh. Look them up. I listened to them for the first time today. They were really, really good. Caleb, you might enjoy them too, seeing how they're kind of like
I'll have to check them out, Tyler.
Yeah, they're kind of like Skillet, but not as heavy as Skillet. It's more like Skillet's first album. And then I'm going to try to get it for my show as well.
I'll definitely have to check them out. I know you just sent me the link here, so...
Yeah.
We shall see.
And then you said you were going to try to do an interview for your show, correct?
Yes, I'm going to try to. This is pending because I haven't even asked the guy yet, but I figured I'd mention it because I'm going to try to get him on. So, he's Ross Tucker. He's an NFL podcast host from around the area. He's a former offensive lineman, so I'm going to try to see if I can get him on my show, NFL Talk with Caleb Steindale, at NFL with Caleb on Twitter. If you want to check out the show, I'm also on Spreaker, so I'll be trying to do that. I'll give you updates in the future on this show if we can, if I can get him on. So stay tuned. I'll keep you posted for that.
Okay, cool. And then I guess we'll mention our Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, and website real quick.
Yes.
If you want to do that.
I'll go ahead and do that. On Twitter, where we have, at least on my part, been really slow and behind with sending out tweets.
I've been sending out
a few lately.
And retweets.
Looked like there was one. Yeah.
A lot of retweets.
Tweets and retweets. I'm going to be sending out a lot tonight. I will mention that. I know we have a few bets going on, but they're old, and we're going to make some new ones today if you're okay with that, Tyler, at least for football news and stuff.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll be sending out some more tweets tonight. Keep an eye open. But our Twitter is at Youth News Radio on Twitter. Tweet us any questions you'd have for the show using the hashtag. What is it, Tyler?
Hashtag Youth News Question. And make sure it's sports and music related.
Yes. Hashtag Youth News Question at Youth News Radio. You can like the Facebook page, Youth News Radio, and also you can post a visitor post, I believe, as well, or comments on a post if you have any questions there, and request to join the community, Youth News Radio as well, on Google+. And then the website, which I believe is youthnewsradio.weebly.com.
Yep, that's correct.
We've got all sorts of news related to sports and music that we'll be posting soon. At least I'll try to post some stuff. But you can find out all about the show on the website.
Yep. All right, and then I guess I'll mention my show real quick. Well, we are just really, really fast since we're already 7 minutes into the show. You can find me on Google Plus at tidecover14@gmail.com. Twitter will just be the Youth News account, and then I have my own website called TNOS Side of Youth News, and it's tnosside.weebly.com. I have it different. It's TONSIDE of youthnews.weebly.com. So, and then Caleb, do you want to mention real quick where we can find you at?
Yeah, I just didn't mention my shows. At NFL with Caleb is the Twitter handle. We got a Google Plus community you can join, like the Facebook page, all NFL Talk with Caleb Steino. And then at NFL with Caleb, I said is the Twitter, but then the website, you can go to nfltalkwithcaleb.weebly.com.
All right.
Short and sweet.
So let's get into it real quick, as we will only have about, I'm going to say 18 minutes left before our closing song. So if you want to open us up with some sports stuff.
On this show, I'm going to talk about quarterbacks, and then I'll jump into the next show that we do in free agency with the running backs. But Tyler, yesterday was the start of free agency, and for football fans like myself, it's become somewhat of a holiday. It's a day that makes you cheer, it makes you groan, and it makes you scratch your head as players get dropped, traded, and signed. It's a bizarre day in the life of an NFL fan. Yesterday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time was the official start date, or the official start time, I should say. And on this show, I'll be breaking down some quarterback news, and in the next show, we'll be talking about running backs and then wide receivers and so on and so forth as the shows progress. But I'll kick things off with possibly the biggest, or I should say the most relevant, the most important, at least from my point of view, free agent quarterback signing that happened. And Tyler, you can feel free to weigh in on this as well.
Okay.
But Brock Osweiler, formerly a Denver Bronco, has agreed to terms with the Houston Texans on a 4-year, $72 million contract. The Houston Chronicle's John McClain previously reported that Osweiler was unlikely to go to the Texans, but he, according to RotoWorld.com, I'm reading a report from RotoWorld right now, Osweiler called the Broncos bluff and will now team up with skilled QB tutor Bill O'Brien, who maximized the talents of Matt McGloin and Christian Hackenberg at Penn State before doing the same with Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoyer, and even TJ Yates and Brandon Wheaton over the past 2 years in Houston. So Osweiler, a few stats on him, he's 25 years old. He went 5-2 in 7 starts for Denver last season. Here's the deal. Everyone is so caught up on the Brock Osweiler hype train that we haven't stopped and considered whether or not he will really develop into a legitimate threat. The guy's got half a season under his belt as a starting quarterback, for crying out loud. I believe he has the most potential among any of these guys, but is he going to be a dud? Is he simply going to tank as the season progresses for the Texans? That's a question that's largely unknown. I didn't expect this. I expected Osweiler to accept the deal that the Broncos offered him. It would have been a 3-year, $45 million deal, but Texans easily topped this. And I will say, Houston's got a pretty nice team coming together. They had a few other recent signings, including Lamar Miller, previously of the Dolphins. We'll talk about that next show. But here's the deal. Brock Osweiler should have accepted the Broncos' offer. That's just my opinion. You look at the Broncos, the system he knows. He's about to move to the Houston Texans, who really, I don't believe, give him the best chance to win a Super Bowl. I know they've got a strong team so far in what they've been building, but I'm nervous about him at Houston. I think he should have accepted the offer from Denver. But I understand he's got a nice paycheck and a 4-year deal in Houston. Also, what this does is it completely throws out the scenario of possibly Bill O'Brien and the Texans wanting to draft Christian Hackenberg. Maybe a Hackenberg-Bill O'Brien reunion. They were both in Penn State. I think that's kind of out the window after this. So a great ad for the Texans. I'm not so sure from Brock Osweiler's end, but I think it'll work out. I think the Texans will be a threat. And moving on quickly, a couple other quarterbacks to talk about. The New York Jets, formerly, Ryan Fitzpatrick, formerly of the New York Jets, according to RotoWorld.com, are, quote, mired in a stalemate, while the Broncos are haggling with 49ers over quarterback Colin Kaepernick. So these are two guys I want to talk about. First of all, we'll go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So, listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a free agent currently, but his offer that he was given by the New York Jets was less than what Chase Daniel got. Chase Daniel is now a backup for the Eagles. The Jets did not offer Ryan Fitzpatrick very much, and he chose, at this point, it looks like he's going to cut ties with the Jets and look elsewhere. At this point, the Broncos seem interested in him. I'm not sure where he's going to go. We can make a bet on that if you want to in a minute, Tyler. But also, Colin Kaepernick of the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are not going to release him. It looks like they want to try to trade him. And I don't blame them because they can get a few draft picks in exchange for him, I think. He may end up with the Broncos. They're thinking about trading him to the Broncos. That's a possible scenario. The Broncos are also reportedly interested in RG3, who, in turn, is interested in the Rams. It's a whole crazy scenario here. But if we look at it individually, we can see that RG3, in my opinion, is best suited to play for the Rams. Colin Kaepernick is best suited to stay where he is in San Francisco. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is best suited to begin playing and sign with the Denver Broncos. That's my take on it. We can take a look now at our bet that we had over RG3, where he's going to end up. Tyler, I think you had the Browns, if I remember correctly. I had him going to the Rams. The Browns, there hasn't been much talk over whether he'd sign with the Browns or not. The only discussion over whether he'd sign with the Rams has been from his end. He's reportedly, quote, very much interested in the Rams, according to rotoworld.com. This is weird, too. The Rams continue to claim that they're happy with Case Keenum. The guy was awful last year. Case Keenum was a train wreck, not to mention Nick Foles. I mean, if you're telling me the Rams are actually happy with Case Keenum at quarterback, something's wrong in that organization. Dreadfully wrong. I think that RG3, I stick by my prediction that he'll end up with the Rams. I just think that's the best for him. The Rams, listen to me. The Rams are a Super Bowl caliber team if they get RG3 on the roster. That's just all there is to it. They're a quarterback away from domination of that division. I think they can be that good with a solid quarterback. And RG3, I'm an RG3 believer. I think he goes to the Rams. I think he turns them around, and I think they become a Super Bowl caliber team come 2016. So those are my thoughts on a few of the top quarterback the quarterback news headlines that have been floating around the NFL recently. Tyler, I'm looking here and seeing if you want to make any bets. I know we already had one on RG3. That's still standing.
And then we had one on Forte, which we both lost that one.
Yes, we both lost that one because Matt Forte, we'll talk about this in the next show, did sign with the Jets. I did want to mention, Tyler, I know you're an Eagles fan. The Eagles have signed Chase Daniel, former backup of the Kansas City Chiefs. This should not come as like some kind of a massive shock that every Eagles fan needs to